Just felt inclined again because I thought this morning I've been doing divination with this book, but I felt this morning let me read the foreword, and I don't even remember reading this foreword a decade ago. But it is by John Whitmore, and I just read his autobiography, or just his Wikipedia entry. Sir John Henry Douglas Whitmore, 2nd Baron. I think I have to switch my internet off because otherwise I get interruption. Okay, so he was born the 16th of October 1937 and he died on the 18th of April 2017. And he was a coaching industry executive and an author and a British racing driver. Very interesting. So I thought that was rather interesting to read about him. Just to make sure that I have the right Sir John Whitmore who wrote the foreword for this. Now, just let me just see, just looking at something here. I'd like, I made, oh yeah, because I switched my internet off, of course my Bluetooth went off as well. So I'm going to put my Bluetooth back on because I like what I did there for my little sound bars. And I want that in the background. So, sorry, I should start again. Okay, connection available. So maybe it was frozen, maybe it was not. I'm reading the foreword by John Whitmore, Sir John Whitmore. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI, is now a serious business. In 1992, NASA invested much effort, money and new technology in searching the stars, or rather their planets, for radio signals which might indicate the presence of intelligent life forms. On a recent British TV program entitled E.T. Please Phone Home, several eminent professors involved with the project expressed little doubt that such lived life exists and were anxious for Earth to keep listening for signs of it. However, they were not all in agreement about the wisdom of us Earthlings revealing our presence to the wider universe. As one luminary pointed out, we all know that what we human did to societies that we deemed to be more primitive than we discovered. So what might be more advanced life forms to do to us? That fear is based on the contradictory assumption that these advanced beings would be as aggressive, thoughtless, uncompassionate and primitive as human beings. This is just adding that. It's not my words. It is too late now anyway, for we have been radio messages for many decades, the first of which have already sped past neighbouring solar systems. However, the bizarre nature of the more powerful signals that follow those first dots and dashes, from soap operas to evangelist preachers, might cause an alien to wonder whether intelligent life does exist on Earth after all. When Mahatma Gandhi was asked what he thought about Western civilization, he said it would be a good idea. Such might be the view of Earth from afar. universes and other pioneers have gone past his limits of speculation to the limits of credibility. Other universes suggest other dimensions based on laws beyond the comprehension of our scientists and beyond detection by our technology. Anything operating in this realm would be magic to us, and would of course be dismissed as a non-event or an illusion by those who hold tenuously to the limitations of existing science. Only a century ago, were not electric lights, radio, television and flights, let alone space flight, in the realms of magic to all but the foolhardy? Are we so arrogant and as chauvinistic to think that our science, a mere 100 years on, is the only science of the universe? While Wheeler was theorizing about other realms, Uri Geller was bending spoons by other means. Predictably, he was dismissed by defenders of the scientific faith, such as magician James Randi, Sati seeker Carl Sagan, and science fiction maestro Isaac Asimov. Oh, I read all of his. Nevertheless, some reputable scientists validated his work, and Geller himself went on to make a fortune locating oil and minerals for multinational commercial enterprises who were less sensitive about the scientific correctness of his powers. We find plenty of occurredness that defy our scientific reason in religion. Of course, they have strong symmetry with the types of events in which physics like Geller engage. In our Bible alone, there are many examples of clairvoyance, clairaudience, channeling, telekinesis, healing, and dowsing. It is profoundly illogical of us to accept our biblical stories on faith, and yet to deny that these things can, or do, occur today. The passage of time lionizes historical people and events in the same way as television does now, making it hard for us to find a balanced perspective of distant times and find their modern parallels. Of course, religion, at least the Christian religion, has been overtaken by science as the guardian of the truth for us less mortals. We look at the high priests of science for knowledge and understanding. Robes have yielded to the white coat, the chalice to the test tube. Science has the advantage of not being obliged to define good or evil, though I believe we would all do better off if it was. At first glance, even on moral grounds, science can make good case for its ascendancy, because the track record of religion is deplorable. Both in biblical times and today, examples of sheer evil carried out in the nature of God and religion abound. From time to time, physics too are revealed as frauds or use their power for evil purposes. What is new, surprising, or different? Where there is good, there is evil to oppose or distort it. Has not science created its monsters too? Of course, neither science nor religion are inherently evil, but what some people will do in the pursuit of them is horrendous. The Christian view of the coexistence of good and evil may not be too far off the mark, but people often find comfort in more one-sided interpretation of this concept when extraterrestrials are concerned. While some defy and rush to embrace all forms of cosmic experience to help them escape our material existence, others see all alien acts or contacts as the work of the devil. However, it may not be that clear-cut. It is not reasonable to speculate that technologically advanced being might exist in other dimensions, beings who are not evil, but who regard us as a laboratory of lower life forms for them to experiment upon. We have few scruples about what we do mundane animals in the interest of scientific advancement. Might they not do the same, hence the abduction and cattle mutilation? Such occurredness could easily lead us to believe that all extraterrestrial life forms are evil. Certainly they would, unless we are able to recognize just how many different types of alien exist, and how many of them may be around us all the time. This idea directly challenges the scientists' notion of physical ETs developing along rare chance evolutionary parallels to universes on few distant planets. But it readily fits. It readily fits with. Where is that here? Where am I? But it readily fits with religious beliefs. Yes, beings of white light, dark forces, and the greys in between could be here now, though for the most part in another dimension, undetectable to us. It is only our blind logic that asks, why don't they come and land on the White House lawn? Why don't they come and sort the mess out we're in? Why would they bother with a little planet like ours? It may be up to each of us individually to discover them for ourselves and make our own alliances. Is that not what some religions suggest? In our eagerness to embrace the wonders of science and acquire the new technological luxuries, we have elevated scientists to undeserved heights of infallibility and have not considered whether they are looking in the right place for extraterrestrial life. That life is here, us now, and has been ever since that brief moment in universal time of what we call recorded history began. If angels and other cosmic beings exist in another dimension, I'm sure they would appear and disappear as if by magic. And is that not exactly what they do? Might they not come in chariots of gods which would defy our laws of gravity and common sense, the way that UFOs are reported to us? If we read between the lines of religion and science fiction, and look a little less to science for the understanding of extra intelligence, we might be more successful. I suggest that the NASA's array of radio telescopes cannot see the wood for trees. They are looking out there, and it's right here. It is even willing to talk to us, if we are willing to listen. Perhaps, if we were to ask ETs about their existence and purpose, they might tell us, and also spell out why they do not make their presence globally known. The problem is that religion invites us to talk to God and his cohorts, but if we dare to claim that they have answered us back, we are considered crazy. For nearly 20 years now, I, John Whitmore, have been talking with a group of beings, non-human and invisible, who have with great love and patience told me and several colleagues much about the structure of intelligent life forms in the universe, where Earth fits into the scheme, what our purpose is, and that of our planet, how our misuse of religion and science has distorted our understanding to the point of blindness, and what can we do about it. My partners in this venture included Dr. Andrij Puharic, identified in the text as Andrew, other scientists, religionists, and Gene Roddenberry of Star Trek, who obtained a detailed description of beings from elsewhere in the universe. Gene Roddenberry of Star Trek, who obtained a detailed description of beings from elsewhere in the universe. Gene and Andrija have passed on, but most of the others are still with us. The only planet of choice is a selection of our conversations with our friends from space. I hope it will help to clear up, for some people at least, the huge gulf of understanding that divides religions from each other, religions from science, and scientists from physics. Sadly, we also have to contend with certain powerful earthly authorities who have in their folly or wisdom, depending on your point of view, chosen to project us, by the judicious use of disinformation and ridicule, from their more complete knowledge about extraterrestrial life. One wonders if they really know with which level of the cosmic hierarchy they are dealing, and who needs protecting from whom. This book, along with other books with crop circles, the new genre of sci-fi films, a few global crises, whistleblowers, paranormal events, controlled leaks, and not so controlled ones, are all part of the essential awakening of Earth. That awakening demands that we move beyond the present structures of both science and religion. The challenge for science is that the essence of religion is true. The challenge for religion is that there is but one truth. All that any one religion possesses is a perspective of that truth, and by now a fairly distorted one at that. There is no authority for real understanding but ourselves. We need to be told, we need to be bold, but very discriminating. I don't expect that my particular logic expressed in these few pages will be sufficiently fully to open the mind of the most skeptical reader. Some of us will not without good reason balk at any messages that purports to emanate from a cosmic source, especially if it is delivered by or transmitted through a fallible human being. We may shield ourselves from that which we do not understand or cannot believe, with the assumption or even the accusation of fraud. Fraud, however, only occurs when there is a perceived or actual pecuniary gain or power to be had. This is certainly not applicable to Phyllis. The role of a go-between at the interface between earthly and universal consciousness is fraught with difficulty, loneliness and stress, and is often both physically and emotionally painful. Phyllis has experienced that and more. She was an ordinary American lady, nutritionist, mother and grandmother, with extraordinary gifts as a teacher and channel, who tells about herself and how it all began in her own words in Briefing. To understand more about the channeling process, I recommend the reading of Briefing Part 2 before embarking on the main text. There will still be those who reject channeling or have an unshakable aversion to it. I have a lot of empathy with their position myself. But are we dependent on knowing the source of the message in order to recognize or accept the wisdom contained therein? Does a good quotation only require its power when attributed to Abraham Lincoln, William Shakespeare? If we need the name of the fame of the sayer to validate a quotation, are we not abdicating our discrimination and choice? The only planet of choice suggests just how important our individual choice may be in the years to come, for ourselves and for the universe. Neither do you have to, nor can you, decide now if the wisdom offered stands on its own merit, nor are you able to determine whether the information contained in this book holds together as a readable hypothesis until you have read it. Then, read on.